Hi, my name is Jim Watts. I'm the inventor of the Stopacramp strap. My webpage is stopacramp.com. That's stopacramp.com, no spaces between Stopacramp. All one word. I'm making this video to explain why my strap works for nocturnal and resting leg cramps. 7 years ago, I began to experience very painful leg cramps. I felt it was serious enough to seek medical help. I tried every suggestion that my doctor had, from hydrating, custom insoles, vitamins, and compression stockings, but nothing made a difference. I needed to get this under control, so I began to research this problem based on my own needs, and soon found out that many others were also afflicted with this problem. Like myself, they didn't find a solution. During my years of research, I discovered why medical science has not been effective to deal with this very common problem. The problem is called idiopathic cramps, as termed by many medical studies, meaning leg cramps without a causative disorder. In other words, they are not sure what causes this problem. Michael C. Levin wrote an article where he states, the most common types of leg cramps are benign idiopathic leg cramps, and in brackets it says, leg cramps in the absence of a causative disorder, typically at night. Exercise-based muscle cramping, in brackets again, cramps during or immediately after exercise. Leg cramps at night usually occur in the calf and cause plantar flexion, movement of the foot in which the foot or toes flex downward toward the sole. End quote. In this last line he says movement of the foot in which the foot or toes flex downward towards the sole. Remember the toes part of that statement, because it is the critical part of how and why my straps work. I feel the majority of doctors focus on the more urgent problem, which is the cramping muscle, and don't always notice other things that are happening at the same time. This next article of note is from American Family Physician, dated August 15th, 2012 by Richard E. Allen, MD, and Carl A. Kirby, MD. St. Mark's Family Medicine Residency, Salt Lake City, Utah. Up to 60% of adults report that they have had nocturnal leg cramps. This recurrent painful tightening usually occurs in the calf muscles and can cause severe insomnia. The exact mechanism is unknown, but the cramps are probably caused by muscle fatigue and nerve dysfunction rather than electrolyte or other abnormalities. Limited evidence supports treating nocturnal leg cramps with exercise and stretching or with medications, such as magnesium, calcium channel blockers, carisoprodol, or vitamin B12. Quinine is no longer recommended to treat leg cramps. I'm going to interrupt this part in the article to tell you something I found interesting on the internet. I've read articles on quinine that claim it can also cause blindness or death if overdosed. Carry on with the article now. Nocturnal leg cramps are reported by 50 to 60% of adults and approximately 7% of children. They are slightly more common in women, and the prevalence increases with age. Up to 20% of patients who experience leg cramps have daily symptoms that are bothersome enough for the patient to seek medical attention. The acute episodes may be followed by hours of recurrent episodes and residual pain. Leg cramps are usually nocturnal and are associated with secondary insomnia. Quite a problem. The acute episodes may be followed by hours of recurrent episodes and residual pain. Leg cramps are usually nocturnal and are associated with secondary insomnia. The mechanism of leg cramps is unknown, but several myopathic, neurological, and metabolic causes have been suggested. Most cases of leg cramps are idiopathic. Once again, I interrupt this article to point out one of the suggested causes of idiopathic leg cramps was neurologic. This is the main reason why my straps work. Now back to the article. Neither exercise-related cramps nor nocturnal cramps have been associated with hypovolemia caused by dehydration or disturbances of electrolytes such as potassium, sodium, and magnesium and teriparatide. Muscle cramps are reported as an adverse effect for hundreds of medications, but only a few are specific to the legs. Medication-related leg cramps are commonly associated with intravenous iron sucrose, conjugated estrogens, relaxofene, naproxen, and teriparatide, although the overall incidence is very low. No current treatments for leg cramps have been proven both safe and effective. Routine blood tests are not helpful in a diagnosis because leg cramps have no proven association with electrolyte abnormalities, anemia, glucose level, thyroid function, or kidney disease. The mechanism of dorsiflexing the foot may be helpful. I'd like to interject. There is once again reference to the foot. The article goes on to say, quinine has shown some effectiveness regarding nocturnal leg cramps, but is no longer recommended. In 2010, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued a warning about multiple drug interactions with quinine and stated that the potential for serious adverse effects outweighs the modest benefit of the drug. Small studies have shown some benefit from other medications. Because of the low quality of evidence, no medication can be recommended for routine treatment of leg cramps. End quote. Now this sounds promising, and there are many more like it, such as the next article. MedicineNet published an article on the internet from June 9, 2019 that reinforces what was stated in the preceding article. I quote, rest cramps. Cramps at rest are very common, especially in older adults, but may be experienced at any age, including childhood. Rest cramps often occur at night. While not life-threatening, night cramps, commonly known as the nocturnal cramps, can be painful, disruptive of sleep, and they can recur frequently. That is, many times a night and or many times each week. The actual cause of night cramps is unknown. End quote. The article states later on, more than 2/3 of people aged 50 and up have experienced leg cramps. There are many articles on the subject, but to quote them all would be far too lengthy, so I took quotes and excerpts from the front, ones I felt would be useful. The previous articles make statements regarding those afflicted with leg cramps. I think that the number of those affected by leg cramps is actually unknown and much greater. An excerpt from a study called A Prospective Observational Study of the Mean Features of Nocturnal Leg Cramps in Primary Care. Publication date, March 24th, 2019. This is an article as it was presented. It states, and I quote, funding from Facility of Medicine, University of Geneva. Written by Sibo Paul, Haller Dogmart M., Cerruti Bernard, and Mason Neuve Hubert. Information gathered from 129 participants. Unlike quinine, magnesium has a favorable side effect profile and has been a mainstay for treatment of nocturnal leg cramps in Europe. Unfortunately, we recently showed in a systematic review that magnesium does not seem to be more effective than placebo in the treatment of these cramps. End quote. Most people try other methods, such as eating bananas, vitamins, hydrating, pickle juice, stretching, or exercise before seeking medical help. Stretching the cramping muscle is often recommended as a means for relief. The following is a clip from Michael C. Levin's article about stretching, and I quote, "If a cramp occurs, stretching the affected muscle often relieves the cramp. For example, to relieve a calf cramp, patients can use their hand to pull the toes and foot upward, dorsiflexion." End of quote. This is actually lining up the toes, which is what my straps do for the user. Another segment from Medicinet states, sometimes such cramps, idiopathic, are initiated by making a movement that shortens the muscle. Another part from the same article illustrates how the toes are involved. An example is pointing the toe down while lying in bed, which shortens the calf muscle of the leg, the common site of muscle cramps. This statement regarding the toes is where they are pinpointing the trigger for leg and foot cramps. What I have discovered over the years, and with the help of many who use and are still using my strap, is why it works every time. My strap works because it lines the toes up to create a stable condition for the nervous sensors of our big second and third toe. Having our toes lined up and level can interrupt a cramp in the process, or if you wear it prior to the times you expect to have a cramp, then leg and foot cramps will not develop. The nervous system has certain steps or conditions that need to occur before a muscle responds. Some inputs are more dominant than others and can overrule other inputs received. One example of this last statement is holding your hand over a flame. Your senses will be screaming to do a reflex reaction such as pull your hand quickly away from the flame. But your brain can overrule that instant response. When we are cold, we shiver, which is an automatic response and occurs to move muscles to create heat. Our brain does not try to overrule that, and I don't know if it successfully can. In the case of leg and foot muscle cramps, inputs from our deep peroneal nerve and our internal plantar nerve regarding footing and stance create a reactive response to the muscle groups responsible to maintain a positive or secure footing and stance. These inputs can create a reaction in our leg muscles and are the prime movers of idiopathic leg cramps. These inputs are from our big second and third toe. They dictate how our muscles respond, so much so that other inputs regarding muscle conditions and balance are overruled or greatly impacted. The conditions that affect these nervous inputs are from how our toes may be positioned in our footwear or our bedding when sleeping. You may also have had cramps when in certain positions that affect the positioning of your feet and toes. As we grow old, our tendons change in length when we grow and shrink when we age. This can affect our toe positioning and related muscle tension. This last reason is why those over 50 are far more prone than any other age group to have nocturnal or resting leg cramps. If you observe what your toes do during a cramp, you'll see for yourself what I'm talking about. Another thing you see people doing with leg cramps is manipulating the toes or pressing their feet against the ground or something solid. This is actually our brain's automatic reaction to correct our situation because our sensors for footing and stance are out of line. What I have found is what my strap does is line the toes up when you put them on and quickly corrects the condition that brought on the leg cramp, but they have to be put on properly. I myself wear them full time so that a cramp never occurs at any time of day. Others wear them only when a cramp starts or prior to the time they normally expect a cramp to occur. If you have comments or questions, please respond to this thread or you can message me. Thank you for your time. There's going to be more videos to follow along this sort of line. And I'm focusing on exercising now and see if this helps people cramping from exercise. Thank you very much.